Emma Bledsoe is now and always has been the perfect child. We tell her that she's nearly perfect just to keep her grounded. So when she was a year old, my husband and I decided that wouldn't it be nice to give her a sibling, to have two nearly perfect children? And so my husband and I decided, let's do it. A lot. It was a very busy summer. And my husband, who was in the Army at the time and was getting ready to change jobs within the Army and was moving us to California, should have been very stressed out that summer, but he was not, because he had lots of opportunities to release his stress, as it were. But alas, it didn't work. And so after exhausting all natural courses of action and moving across the country, I decided to go see a doctor because I figured the problem was probably me. I'd had problems with my plumbing for my entire life. So I thought probably right here is where we're going to look. So I went to the doctor in California and he said, oh, okay, well, if you're having trouble, here's some pills, some Clomid, it'll modulate your estrogen or whatever, and it'll help. Didn't help. Another round, didn't help. Another round, didn't help. So as we were facing another move, thanks to the Army, this time to Germany, I finally decided, you know what? Our daughter's turning 3. We're moving. We'll just be a family of 3. They say 3's the magic number, right? So that's what we'll do. I'll just have an only child. I'm an only child, and I turned out great. So that's what we're going to do. So we moved to Germany, and we moved to this tiny little town in the foothills of the Alps. And it was so beautiful and so idyllic. And from our top floor, you could see the Alps. And it was so peaceful. And I never felt happier or safer. And our daughter played every day with our neighbors' children. They had 2 little girls, 2 little German girls who straddled her in age. And they played so beautifully. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if Emma had someone she could play with all the time? Wouldn't it be nice if she had a sibling? And I thought for a moment about how there's an inherent loneliness that comes with being an only child. And as perfect as things were, I didn't really want her to have that loneliness. So I went to see the German doctor, Dr. Zettel. And I told him my story, and he looked me straight in the face with that German practicality and said, oh, yes, of course, you have not conceived. You have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I can fix this. And I thought, oh, a name. I have a name for what's happening. I can fix this with a name. So we embarked upon Dr. Zettel's plan. Dr. Zettel's plan involved a lot of shots and not the fun kind. Every day, poke, ouch, poke, ouch. And my husband apologized as he packed his bag to go to a training courtesy of the Army again. As I poke, ouch. And so he left. And after he left, I was introduced to phase 2 of Dr. Zettel's magic plan that introduced me to the internal ultrasound. Some of you have heard of it. It is probably one of the most invasive things that a woman can undergo. That ultrasound is inside. I'll leave the rest to your imagination. So it was every other day I had to have my follicles measured with the internal ultrasound. So every day, poke, ouch. Every other day, poke, ouch. Just a little pressure. Poke, ouch. Just a little pressure. And things were progressing as normal. And then one day I didn't decide, it just happened. I went to a meeting. Part of my job, I had to go to a meeting at the clinic in this little Army post that we lived on. And I came out of the meeting, and in the waiting room, there was a television. And I looked up at the television, and I saw a plane fly into a building. And I was confused. And I thought, what? That's weird. And so I raced across post. It was a tiny post. Took exactly 2.5 minutes to get across post. I know this because my favorite song was 2.5 minutes. And if I started it at the clinic and by the time I got to work, it was done. Took that 2.5 minutes to get over to my work. We turned on the television. I was in my office with my people, my support system. And we watched as the world fell apart. And we sat for hours, just staring at a screen, at images that we could not imagine hours before. And I can remember thinking, please don't fall, please don't fall. Please put out the fire. And then they fell. And my mind was so confused. And I thought, Emma's all the way across post. I know it's only 2.5 minutes, but it was still a far way when you don't know what's going on. And my husband was across the country, and I couldn't get to either one of them. And I was terrified. And so, after a while, I was able to get Emma, and I was able to go home. And the whole time I kept thinking, what am I doing? What kind of a world am I trying to bring a child into? I don't want to bring a baby into some kind of world that can be so evil and horrifying. That's so selfish. And I called my husband and we talked about it and whether or not it was a good idea to continue down this road. And I had an appointment scheduled for September 12th, 2001. Just a little pressure. My husband and I decided we'll sleep on it and we'll make the decision tomorrow. And so September 12th, I woke up and I started to drive towards Dr. Zettel's office. And my path took me past the front gate of our teeny tiny post. And what I saw in front of the gate was what can only be described as a mountain of flowers and candles and teddy bears and notes that said, "We stand with you." People who had no dog in this fight were standing with us. And I thought at that moment, that's the world I want to bring a baby into. A world that has empathy and feeling and just humanity at its finest. And so, June 2002, I brought forth the nearly perfect sibling for Emma. And he's right there. Just kidding. He is right there, though. Thank you so much.